Hey everybody, it's John Hope Bryant, founder, chairman, and chief executive officer of Operation Hope. Also CEO of Bryant Group Ventures, author of a couple books, Love Leadership, The New Way of Leading a Fear-Based World, bestseller, and How the Poor Can Save Capitalism, which is my last book, and working on one now. So first of all, much love to the family, friends, and fans of Prince. Much respect goes out, and he really, these three P's reflect also his values. Some of my friends were his dear friends. I never had a chance to meet the man, but oddly enough, he was on my list of people to meet in 2016. But Van Jones and others who love Prince and knew him, my heart goes out to you. So there's three P's of success I want to share with you today. If you're signing in, you can sign your comments below. I will respond to them either right now or later when I get back to my office. But it just hit me that I need to explain a bit more in these mini video sessions that we're doing now. I need to explain a bit more around my philosophy about why I believe what I believe and why I'm encouraging you to think differently, to reimagine your world. So work with me as I work with you, and to try to unpack 50 years of my life in 100 countries I've visited, and all the experiences of growing businesses and taking something from nothing and turning it into something. And I also apologize. I'm assuming that you folks know already my background. You need to go to operationhope.org, check out the work. All right. So don't take my word for it. Don't take what you're hearing here as an example. Go to Bryant Group Ventures and look at all the things we've created, the jobs we created, the economic opportunity. Go to Operation Hope, see the $2 billion, that's cash, 2 billion US currency we've invested with our partners in our neighborhoods, inner cities, low wealth communities, all right, all across this country, 400 plus cities, 26,000 volunteers, 2 million plus clients, people who look very much like I do, right, who grew up in neighborhoods that I grew up in. And so check that out first and then listen to what I have to say. Okay, here's the three P's. I've been really encouraging you to be positive, because that's the first P. The three P's are positive, be persistent, and be passionate. Now, there are many other vaults to success, but if you don't get those three right, nothing else is going to work in your life. So when I tell people you cannot be a chief criticism officer, you cannot be the chief pissed off officer, you cannot be the chief upset officer, you cannot be black for a living, or brown for a living, or Latino for a living, or white for a living. You can't be angry for a living. You can't be negative for a living, right? I'm not lecturing you. I'm not talking down to you. I'm saying, give me any example in the world of somebody who was successful, like over sustained periods of time, who fit that description. They don't exist. The only people who have been successful over a sustained periods of time are people who fit this aspirational criteria that I just gave you, right? They're positive. They see the glass as half full, not half empty. Now, does racism exist? Of course it does. As I said earlier, racism is like rain. It's either falling someplace or it's gathering. So you might as well get out an umbrella in a color you like and start strolling through it, because it's not going to change, so you must. Right? Is the world unfair? Yes, the world's unfair, right? Is the playing field level? No. I'm reconnecting here. The playing field's not level, right? But over and around it, through it, we're just going to have to get to it. That's the persistence piece, right? So these things are going to start overlaying, right? You have to be positive. The number one trait of wealthy people, of successful people, is that they are positive. You've got, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're absolutely right. Is the glass half full or the glass half empty? Depends who's looking at the glass. It's the same glass. It depends how you see it. So if you are black and if you're a black man with a high school education in the urban inner cities, you've dropped out of high school, you're pissed off of the world, you're not voting, whatever, you've got a bad attitude. Well, the race has just won. Because he's got you off your game, he's got you off the playing field, he convinced you to drop out of school because it wasn't worth anything, wasn't worth finishing. He convinced you not to take care of your kids if you have children and you're not paying alimony or being a father to that child, right? If that's your case. He convinced you not to vote because what's the point of voting, because the whole system is rigged, right? I mean, they got you, man. They got you, right? I mean, look, I'm from Compton, California in South Central LA. I'm from the hood, Dahood, the hood, right? My mom and dad had a 8th grade education, right? My mom went back to high school at 62 and got her high school diploma. So we're not talking about some family with a silver spoon in their mouth. I grew up at 15502 South Fraley, California, South Fraley Avenue in Compton, California, and somehow I made it out, right? Somehow I found a way to be positive. Some way I found a way to aspire, and I built something from nothing. And I was homeless for 6 months of my life when I was 18. Now, I dare the people who are talking all this mess about, he ain't this and he ain't that and whatever. Okay, let me compare my story to yours. Now, let's compare stories, right? Okay, so let's see how we're doing. I tried 100 businesses from age 10 to age 20. 99% of them failed. We're reconnecting. I didn't focus on what didn't work. I focused on what did work. Again, there goes persistence again, right? So here's what you have to do. If you're black in America, you're born on probation. Let's be direct about it. I'm talking to everybody, by the way. But a lot of the commenters that are negative, it really actually breaks my heart, are just, it fits a profile, right? So I'm going to talk to my brothers who seem to be extremely upset, a few sisters, and they can't be upset with me. They never met me. But if you're born black in America, you're on probation. You got to be twice as smart, twice as intelligent, twice as prepared, twice as well dressed, get up twice as early and stay up twice as late, and work twice as hard. That's just the way it TI is. If you can't get with that, then yes, get off the playing field and give somebody else the ball, because you're never going to win. And you're going to keep somebody else, maybe your son or your daughter, from winning. By the way, another reason to be positive: watch how you live your life. It may be the only Bible that anybody else reads. Do you really want your child infected with this negative energy that you're spewing, if this is you, or your cousin or friend? Think about somebody you know. All they do is spew negative energy. Do you really want people you love, your children, to be infected by that? If you want to take yourself out emotionally and spiritually, that's your choice. Don't infect anybody else with that. Be positive, because the alternative is not really an alternative. Number 2, be persistent. Over it, around it, through it, you got to get to it. I just never, ever, 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 ever give up. Never. Do you know that Dr. King gave the I Have a Dream speech more than 100 times before the March on Washington? Did you know that? Right? But we romanticize it like it was just easy, like a speech, and he just, walked out there and it was like cool. No, anything that is successful is going to take hard work, right? And the wrong answer is the right one. It didn't work. You just have to keep at it. President Lincoln failed at everything he did the first 12 years of his life, and then became president of the United States. So be positive, right? Be persistent. My mother told me she loved me every day of my life, so I want to thank her for that, because that really changed me. My dad owned his own business for 54 years. I want to thank him for that. And then a banker came in my classroom and taught me financial literacy when I was 9, taught me the language of money so I could understand the game, right? And I started my first business when I was 10. That got me out of the hood. And I've been at this now, I've been grinding all my life, right? And so now 250 employees and a global operation, and I'm really proud of what we have been able to do for others, but it was all because of this ethos, right? Be positive, be persistent, and last of all, be passionate. People say, are you tired? No, I'm not tired. I may be exhausted, and I was exhausted last night. I'm exhausted a little bit right now. I'm getting energy from you, by the way, by doing this. I think I'm helping somebody, right? You'll tell me in the comments, I'm sure. But what I've learned is, if you're doing what you love, you never worked a day in your life. Now, I've been exhausted, but I've never been tired. If you're tired, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. If you're tired, you're actually not doing the job you're supposed to do. If you see somebody asleep at their desk at 2 if somebody's tired, asleep in their desk at 2 in the afternoon, they're tired. They really shouldn't be doing that job, because they're not into it. My favorite question: what are you passionate about? Figure out what you're passionate about, because Prince figured that out. He lived his dream. Don't be sad for Prince. We're sad that he left this world too soon. But as a friend of mine told me, John Grant, at lunch today, Prince and Michael Jackson died doing what they loved. And it's not about how long you lived, it's about how rich you lived that life. What did Dr. King said? If you don't know what you're willing to die for, you aren't fit to live. So you don't know how long you're gonna die. I mean, how long you're gonna live, but you dang well know you're gonna die. So let's live with both feet. Let's put both. You don't get a dress rehearsal. There's no second chance at this. You got to live your life passionately. What the Bible say, and then I'm out. It's 10 minutes. What the Bible say? The Bible said, "Be hot or be cold. If you're lukewarm, I'll spat you out." Translation: even God doesn't like mediocrity. You're gonna do it, baby. Live your life. Live positively. Live with passion, and live persistently. You just outrun failure, because failure is lazy. Even racist, if that's what you want to focus on, goes to work from 9 to 5 at some raggedy job, comes home, kicks the dog, beats the wife, drinks some beer until 8 o'clock at night, and then goes chasing you from 8:30 to 11. Well, what are you doing for the rest of the day, right? You can outrun homeboy just by working your tail off and executing on your plan. I don't get mad with people. I think the best revenge is success. I'm not going to hit you with a brick. I'm going to hit you with my American Express black card. All right, I'm out. Let me see what we got here. Boom. Wise Ruler says, boom. Ebony, do you want do what you love and to do? Remember, sometimes you have to do what you have to do, exactly, to get to do what you want to do. There's a lot of comments. We're at 11 minutes, so I'm going to go offline. I see Mary from Alaska, John Donato, Ron Jones. I'm listening passionately. Thank you. Shannon Merricks from South Africa. Ebony, anything in life is worth working hard for. We must understand that. Yep. Lakita from California. Chaka from Johannesburg. Sandy Jones Lewis. She has a multiple part statement. I think I'm going to come back to that. I'll do it offline. There's a lot of people on this feed. D Pullman, keep negative things out of your reality. Amen. I'm allergic to negative people. I don't know about you. Minus Henry Johnson says truth. Ashley, citing the Bible. A lot of good comments. Clyde Scott, good afternoon, Mr. Hope. Mr. Hope, good afternoon back to you. Call me John. All right, peace and light, and yes, Hope is my name. That's my legal name. All right, you caught me casual. You caught me in a reflective moment. I hope this has been helpful. I'm going to keep dropping it. And this is Civil Rights. Sign up, operationhope.org, johnhopebryant.com. It's all free. I'm not selling you anything, right? And I love you. Peace and light. Bye.